Thank you for that great feedback. The next section I want to talk about is the 2 radio stations that all of your employees are always tuned to. Do you know these 2 radio stations? The first one is WIIFM. Does anyone know what that stands for? It's an acronym. I'm sure you've heard it before. Right. It's What's in It for Me. And that's what so many of us want to know. Anytime we're starting something new or we want to reach our goals, we say, what's in it for me, baby? It's all about me, right? And I'll turn that around to you. What's in it for you to have employees that are excited and happy and love coming to work and are enthusiastic, that love what they do and love working with people? Who wouldn't want to be the manager of a store like that? That would just be incredible. So anytime you turn it around and give it what's in it for them, that is going to really help motivate them. The other radio station we're all tuned to is MMFIAM, and that is Make Me Feel Important About Myself. Anytime you can raise or enhance an associate's self-esteem, that is going to help motivate them. That doesn't motivate everybody, but to many of us, back to that praise and encouragement, at helping them learn to succeed and helping them succeed is always going to be a good thing. Now, as we go along in this journey, though, in growing and learning and developing new leaders, one of the things we have to talk about is the ups and downs of that. Any of you ever had a bad day? I mean, we've all had bad days. And so the next topic that I want to talk about is a concept called failing forward. Not falling forward, failing forward. And it's on page 5 in your handout. So turn to that and let's take a look at that model. Now, anytime you look at working through life, you're going to look at your successes and you're going to look at your trials, and sometimes those turn into failures. How many of you have children? Or how many of you know children? Maybe you have a niece or a nephew, all right? And as the child grows up, they start crawling, and pretty soon they start pulling up on stuff, and then one fateful day, the child finally takes those first few faltering steps. And that's kind of like we are when we're trying something new, maybe a new employee on the job. You're not sure of yourself. You're not sure of your success. Or maybe you have a new product we want to sell that you're not that familiar with yet. So we want to try those things out. Well, when that child takes those first few faltering steps, what happens next? Right? Bam! Down they go. And then at that point, do you as the doting parent say, well, you loser, I knew you'd never walk? No, of course not. What do you say when the child falls down? Good job, Johnny! Get up and try again. You can do it. We think you can do it. You're awesome. Get up and try again. And that gives them the encouragement to get up and try again. What would it be like? Think back to a time when things didn't go so well for you. Maybe you had a bad day. Maybe you had an angry customer. Maybe you just had a frustrating day. Maybe with your manager or the district manager. What would it have been like when you failed? If somebody had said, you can do it, I believe in you, come on, let's sit down, figure out what went wrong, and let's go on from there. And as the child gets older, pretty soon they start running. And then what happens? Wham! Down they go again. Hit their head on the table, trip and fall, and maybe scrape their knee, and sometimes that happens to us too. Sometimes we fall in a hole. Have any of you ever been in a hole? It's a tough place to be. Life's failures, a job failure, a really bad day, a lot of us have been there. Who helped you out of that hole? When I think back on the people who helped me, who gave me a hand up out of that, I think back on the people who believed in me and the people who encouraged me. And each time I fail, I learn a little bit from it and I fail forward. And the same thing with the child. Each time the child falls down, with their parents' encouragement, they get up and they try again. So think about that as a tactic to use instead of, when you have a bad sale, do you really need somebody to tell you that you had a bad sale or you had an angry customer, you had a bad day? Do you really need anybody to do that? Most of the time, no. Most of the time you're already down on yourself. That's the time where you need somebody to help you to get a hand down in there. That's why in the next page, the picture that you see is a safety net. Our goal should be to create a safety net with guidance, with help around our employees so that when they fail, not if they fail, because you know that they will, it's human nature, if they fail, that they're going to have that net to help them. I had a wonderful boss years ago, Kay, and what Kay did was anytime there was any praise for a job done, she would say, well, that was Kyle, or that was James. Whoever had done the job, she always deflected that praise right back to them, sent it right over to them. Anytime there was perhaps a job that people weren't happy with, a project that maybe didn't go as well as it should have, Kay always said, actually, that was my responsibility. So if it was good, we got the credit. If it was not so good or we needed to make changes, she shielded us from that and helped us. And we sat down and said, hey, what can we do differently? I always appreciated that. She, in that sense, created that safety net for me to help me grow and help me get out of that hole I was in. And if you look back, anybody know the story of Abe Lincoln or Thomas Edison, Walt Disney? Miserable failures. Every one of them had failure after failure after failure. And Thomas Edison is the one that said, genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. That's about what it is. That's what gets us out of that hole, is that hard work. He also said, I love this one, he said, opportunity? Most people don't recognize opportunity because it wears overalls and it looks like work. So think back on those people, and I'm sure they also had someone around them to help them. Help them get up out of that hole, help them to move forward, and with each failure, they grow and they learn from that. All right, now let's take some time at your tables, take a couple of minutes, and let's talk about how we can create that safety net around our employees. Now we're going to have a leader for this activity. The leader at the table will be the person who got up last this morning. So take 2 minutes, have that discussion, and then we'll hear back from you and what you found.